So the conditioning of your mind is a very strong part that influences us to take decisions in the conditioning. So this is about like you come to this world with such an innocence, and even you don't know what your face is going to look like, what you're going to become as an adult. But then you absorb like this sponge, the ideas of your parents and what you want to. So it's almost without a parent knowing, parent has an investment on the child, like what they want the children to be, most probably with their career, most probably with their assets, most probably with their health, and so forth. So every part of this world that somewhere we have been conditioning. I'm not saying the conditioning is bad. I'm not saying the conditioning is wrong, because it belongs to the polarity of the mind, and you go back to the ego. So today's class is, hi, Dr. Carol. Today's class is how can we just take a moment to understand that the space that we are trying to go from yoga to the nirvana or to the samadhi or to the original space of the God. What if I say that you're born with it? And as Ruby says, sometimes you're knocking on the door and you open and you suddenly realize that you're inside and you've always been inside, but that door has to open for you to understand that you were knocking from inside. So today, allow the breath, allow the postures to move into that space, even for a fraction of a moment. And in that moment, if it happens, don't try to force it to stay with it, because then the mind and the ego become strong, and it's the ego trip again, a spiritual ego trip again, and you're forming another level of it. So what is today is very dangerous for people, because when people find their true essence, true choices of their life, they become very powerful, because otherwise we are always going to be someone else's investment, and we don't see that. Whether it's a politician, whether it's a government, whether it's whatever it is, they simply can't help themselves, because they do this from a start, and you just wanted to be in a system that you also have your freedom to go inside into that space, or whatever that space is, to connect with your original source, not by a religion or not by a force of a manual. Today, let's take the practice for more of religiousness or spiritualness, and that the source of it is the presence and the purity of all. So there is no separation, whether you're black or white, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're Australian or whether you're from Myanmar, doesn't matter. Whether you're a tree or whether you're a movement of a breath, it's the essence of it. The co-essence of is the source of it. And all of you have access to it. When you go behind information, when you go behind so much of conditioning and education, that part get not stripped away. You become the outside of the house, and then you try to find where is your silence, where is your restoration, where is your rest, where it is deepened into you. So let us begin the class by very gently finding a posture, so that you have taken the seated of the class, you have taken the seated of the present moment, you have taken the rights of your body, of this galaxy. Take a couple of more breaths deeper, and this will assist you to do your job even better when you have this level of understanding and compassion. Take a couple of more deep breaths, and very gently allow that breath to feel in the end of the spinal column that we call sushumna, because we are all energy beings. The senses find a body and a mind or pictures. They are all illusions of dreams. So let comes into before the pictures, into the presence of, without a separation. So don't say that I found it. It's always there for everything in the galaxy. Try not to verbalize it, because when you verbalize your feeling, it moves back into the surface. Now let's move that breath into the navel and feel that space of the navel. I will move the camera towards Darren so that you can sense it a little bit more. Bring that breath into the space of the solar plexus. You can visualize colors, you can visualize the source above you, within you, doesn't matter. Let's bring that breath into the space of the heart. Very gently elevate the sense and the space of the heart. Bring some clarity into the space of throat. Intention to the throat. Intention to that space, in deep trust of this genuine needs that be met by a breath. Let's come into the space of the third eye. Let's come into the space of the crown. Now take a deep breath into the whole body and allow that breath to move out through your fingers and the feet. Almost energetically, you're breathing through the branches of the tree and releasing it into the roots of your being. That your being has one other manifestation that you call your mind and body. You have other manifestation, and I'm not going to explain that at this very moment. Start breathing through that space of the branches, leaves, hair, into breathing out through that feet, fingers. Very gently finding this practice to slip away from the mind and become more conscious of that space. Now very gently take that deep breath in, shoulders relax. Now take that deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, 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 and breathe out and release those energies through your arms, through your feet. Take that deep breath in and bring that synchronicity of the breath and the movement. And breathe out, release that tension. Now take that deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back, and massage the back of the spine vertebra, especially C1, C2, C3. Open and close the mouth, release the tension of the jaw. Breathe out, chin to the chest. Releasing that tension. Breathing in, shoulders shrug up. Breath out into the space of a cat, a seated cat, collapsing the spine, bringing that energy that you're holding as a trap in the spine, the emotions to be released. It can be a place of fear. It can be a place, even evasion, a desire, a greed. I don't know what is there for you today. It's not about logically, but just finding the energy. Breathing in, push the belly into the front, shoulders roll back and opening up that space of the chest. Breathe out, collapse the spine into a seated cat, chin to the chest, releasing the ghost of this essence that haunts us by thinking, by thinking, by thinking. Breathing in, shoulders roll back, push the belly into the front. Genuinely that heartfelt space of opening, tongue roll up onto the upper palate energy, gaze on the pituitary and the pineal energy. Breathe out, anus lock, navel lock. Now very gently engage in the pelvic floor. Become conscious about that space that you're slightly holding to activate the energy. Breathing in, shoulders roll back, coming into a place of neutrality, that to celebrate the process, whatever that you have worked on. Or very gently take that deep breath, elongation to the space, elongation to the spine, each and every vertebra, twisting the spine on the out breath onto the left side. Very gently, very gently. Bring that space of the physicality to be open. Allow the energy of consciousness to move into those places. Breathing in back into the center, shoulders relaxed, chest open, change the leg formation. Twisting the spine to the other side. Pay that attention to anything that you have medically has done in the body, anywhere, and very gently bring that space open for that healing. Couple of more breaths. Very gently coming back into the center, shoulders relaxing, chest open. Now take that deep breath in and walk those palms into the front and coming onto the knees into a place of a cat. Very gently, patiently, patiently, patiently. Now very gently breathe out, anus lock, navel lock, throat lock, and a larger version of opening in that energy to provide that substance into that physical manifestation that you call a spine, but the primary energy of that Sushumna. Breathing in, drop the belly, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye. Breathe out, allow the energy to flow, to convert that space of your practice into a reality. Not just a dream of a thought, not of an idea of a thought. So that it's clear enough within yourself to act on the movement of your true self. Breathing in, shoulders roll back, opening up that chest into a space, tongue roll up onto the soft part, back part of the palate, where a subtle touch to activate pituitary and the pineal energy. Neutral spine. Now very gently take a deep breath in and stretch your left arm into the front. Clench and unclench and release anything that you're holding, that even you're settled to yoga, your mind is still activated in a certain place and you're active, so your body is not relaxing. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling, and try to get that stretch from pushing that right palm onto the floor and opening up the back of the chest, front of the chest, left arm reaching into the back, under the armpit, very gently dropping and very gently bringing into that space of, and bringing that reflection where you're holding certain things as a pain, as a discomfort, as an illness. So this is an opportunity to, it's like a gift. The practice is like a gift. It's turning your lives around through the practice for better, because your whole ecosystem, not just your idea and the thought, but your whole manifestation is in harmony. Breathing in very gently, coming back, opening up that chest, shoulders relax. Now very gently push the hips side to side just to get alignment, push the hips into the front and into the back. And very gently get that arm, left arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. And very gently reaching into the back under the armpit. Did we do that?
Yeah, we did that right.
So it's actually right arm reaching up to the ceiling and very gently under the left armpit. Just go a long way and release that tension and really try to get the back opening up a little bit more, a little bit more. Allow that prana, the healing energy flowing down through the body that you are feeling. Not just the bone structure and the muscle structure, but really the intention of this posture. Breathing in very gently, coming back. Shoulders relax and chest open. Now give a good rotation to the hips, wider rotation, and activate that space of the digestion. Wider rotation, the space of your ribs, the space of your back, hips, wider rotation to the other side, and very gently regenerate that energy completely and fully. And very gently, knees wide apart. Stretch the hips into the front, take a deep breath in, and then breathe out, very gently opening up. Drop that buttocks into the floor and allow those palms to very gently face up so that you're not holding into anything. You feeling this flow of energy coming from that source, wherever it is, or your realization of the source that you're tapping into. You can tapping into imaginary level, or you can tapping into a feeling level. So whatever is you're connecting in. So the flow of that warmth as the in breath and the out breath brings you. I'm flowing into that space of the warmth, very gently opening up. Very gently opening up your hips into that space. Very gently opening up the spaces that we have neglected, and almost they are bringing pain for us to acknowledge those space or restriction of the pose. So bring this into the practice. You might find when you're working on a certain area, first it might rise up as a pain, as a weird feeling. Now very gently, palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Now very gently drop the belly, soften the hips. Soften the hips by moving it to side. Elbows onto the floor and very gently, comfortably coming into that space of a gentle cobra. Now keep that deep Ujjayana breath, very gently breathing in, because you need that energy of the breath to activate certain energy. Also, breath is very important to visit certain pains of the past, relationships, and bringing that new beginnings into that space by the breath. So it's not stale anymore. It is not stress anymore. It's reassessing the space in a bit more clarity. Overlooking onto the left side. Breathing in back into the center, overlooking onto the right side. Breathing in back into the center. Shoulders relax and chest open. And very gently, forehead landing onto your hands and elbows pointing out. You're relaxing your energy into the back of the neck. Now bring that space of the back of the neck, that the energy is flowing properly into the head, not just stopping on where the back of the neck is. And very gently take that deep breath in and bring that left knee onto the left chest, onto the side. So stretching and rolling onto the right side a little bit more. Now I want you to stretch that left leg onto the left side completely. So it might be harder for you to do it in one go. And then take that deep breath in. And now it's going to be a little bit difficult if this place is comfortable for you to allow the body to feel that energy and work that energy, then stay there. Otherwise, your palms are sitting back into the position of cobra and very gently onto the floor, whether it's an elbow, and then lift up. And very gently, shoulders roll back and elevate the space of the heart. Now take a couple of more breaths and opening up those remaining areas like the groin, like the hip, without forcing it and giving that opportunity to come into that space of light or realization that tension doesn't hide away, pain doesn't hide away, but it's brought into that place of light. So very gently, you're breathing, you're building up that breath, you're building that resistance, you're reforming a healthy space, a healthy tissue, and you're very gently closing those gaps. When the gaps occurs in the body and body cannot flow energy, that's where the pain comes. Breathe into the space of the gap. Use your imagination that whatever the healing comes out of it. Now take the deep breath in and very gently relax back onto the flow. So first, now your forehead relaxing onto the floor, but your leg is still stretched, and allow your buttocks and the glutes to very gently relax into the gravity. Allow the breath to bring into the gravity. And if this is very painful, then you can bend the knee and stretch the leg back and very gently allow the body to be in that space of comfort. So it's up to you. So after a few breaths, you can stretch the leg back also onto the back. Now very gently take that deep breath in and very gently coming back into a normal cobra. So we can very gently release the trauma, release the disease, release the part of the mind that has troubled these areas. So very gently now bring that space onto the back of the body and suddenly feel that you are very conscious about your back of the body. Breathe out, relax onto the flow. Now turning onto the other side, bringing that right knee onto the chest. And when you're ready, stretching that right leg onto the right side, very gently bringing that intricacy very gently with the breath, with the capacity to heal without no doubt to it. Very gently now, palms onto the floor and coming into a gentle cobra on the upper torso. So your leg is stretched onto the side. And very gently, you're bringing that capacity to experience whether releasing a cold, whether it's releasing an abscess, whether it's releasing a gastric disease, whatever it is for you, very gently restoring the balance, restoring the balance with the practice. Of course, if you need to take the medication, you need to take the medication, but just bringing the awareness into it. It's very important, and also stick to your medication, whatever you're doing. So this is not a replacement for medication. Breathing in very gently, relax your forehead onto the floor, elbows pointing out. So this is more of your bringing that imagination into the white blood cells So there's a cellular immunity too, that the cells of the body themselves have some capacity to resist infection and even anything. And you're getting that awareness back into those spaces as a healing mechanism. So when you're breathing in a certain way, when you come into this realization, you allow the brain to regulate the healing. First way is the chemical it produces. The other way is direct nerve pathways that it's creating with the practice, with the sushumna. Breathing in very gently, you can relax or bend the knee and very gently stretch the leg back. Now, whatever the steps you're going to take, it's important. So whether you bend the knee and stretch your leg back, it's up to you. Now the practice is going to go on a vigorous level with the breathing in into up face, shoulders roll back, chest open, soften the throat, clear the forehead. You're not looking from your eyes, you're working on an energy level from your third eye. Breathe out towards a down face. Head down, neck down, bending one knee at a time, releasing the tension. Bending one knee at a time, releasing the tension, then lifting up, take a deep breath in, up to the toes, bend the knees, push those hip back, stretch the back, and very gently take a deep breath in without moving the shoulders into the front, opening up the legs. Now take a deep breath in, left leg up into the back. Rotation to the left foot. Stretch it back, left knee on the out breath onto the left chest. Observe the emotions to come into the place, but without feeding into them. Left leg stretch back, left knee onto the left elbow, breathe out. Stretch back. Left knee onto the right elbow, breathe out. Come forward. Breathing in, stretch back. Now very gently left foot into the front. Arms stretch into the back. Interlacing the fingers, arms raised onto the crown. 6 deep cycles of breath. Observe these energies called the neurotransmitters, neuropeptides. Observe, release into those bloodstream, traveling with the flow, with the movement, with the immune. Palms onto the floor. Left arm reaching into the front, clench and unclench. Left reaching into the back, touch the floor. Breathing in, right arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Into the back, touch the floor. Take a deep breath in, dropping the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front knee. Push the hips forward and back a few times. Shoulders roll back, holding onto the hips if you want to. Garudasana, right arm on the top. Gently touch the third eye to activate that energy. Creating that trigger point of the third eye. Very gently become more active, allowing more effective to function. Spread the wings wider and stroke the third eye. Up to the crown and spread the wings wider and touch the floor. Now very gently dropping those palms onto the right side. Walk those palms into the front and dropping those elbows to open up that groin. opening up that problematic areas and allow it to reveal and become conscious about it. Not so much of fixing it, but becoming aware so that you can understand the energy as a range of functioning. You understand that inactiveness and ineffectiveness. And you understand now through the practice, highly active and highly effective. Because you're bringing a different vibration to the immune system. You're bringing a different vibration to the cells. Both good health, good realization, and active movement. Very gently take that deep breath in, palms onto the floor, and very gently coming back, so the left arm onto the left side of the left foot. And very gently moving into a plank. Stronger on the pelvic floor. Now very gently drop the elbows onto the floor and holding a very lower plank, and stop slouching the body. So take that deep breath in and feeling that elongation, feeling that pelvic floor engaging. Now very gently dropping onto the floor. So it's gently like a cobra. And when you're ready, palms onto the floor, breathing in into a gentle cobra. Now this is a good time to observe your negative thoughts. Can be part of your depressed immune function. And certain level of a practice is not we are so much into a positive thoughts, but it enhances certain positive things. Now this might be you're holding unresolved grief that in the body, and you're bottling up your emotion, and every moment you hear something, you act from that space. Now this is the time for you to specifically clear those energies as chemicals, whether it's a way of sweating, whether it's a way of changing the diet, whether it's changing certain conversations and having a positive outlook on the matters without the separation, because the world is at this moment is in the separation and you don't want to separate furthermore. Now very gently you bring the palms where your elbows are, now breathing in into up face. Shoulders relax and just open. Breathe out towards the down face. Very gently breathing properly, bringing that intention. So your body becomes the messenger of your realization, and that messenger of your realization actually moves into your bloodstream, moves into these molecules, returning back into the brain, providing it with the right space for your communication to heal between the mind and the body, between the mind and the body and the spirit. Now very gently take that deep breath in and right leg up into the back. Give a good rotation to the right foot, right knee to the right chest, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back, right knee to the right elbow, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back, right knee to the left elbow, breathe out. Breathing in, stretch back, right foot into the front. Now create that great capacity of understanding in such a way that you don't have to control anything to regulate the healing throughout the body. You don't have to control anything. And you don't have to do, you have to come into a realization. Arms stretch into the back. Arms raise onto the crown. 6 deep cycles of breath. Allowing that space to be activated. Space of the brain, space of the body, space of the consciousness. So even you're consciously doing, your arms are moving with the movement of your arms, the rhythm of your arms, regulating your heart rate, regulating your breath, and that complexity is in harmony from that space of the brain. Very gently take a deep breath in, right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Release any tension and bring into that flow. Right, reaching into the back, touch the floor. Left arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench, reaching into the back, touch the floor. Now very gently drop the back knee, holding onto the front knee. Shoulders relax, just open. Push the hips into the front and into the back. Now take that deep breath in and arm stretch onto the side and Garudasana, left arm on the top and very gently holding onto the third eye, slightly connect into that space of the consciousness. Space of the consciousness. Breathing, allowing body to function in that space, and you become the observer of it. You participate, but there is a part that you're one with it, but then there's a part that you're observing it. Stroke up to the crown and spread the wings and very gently land those arms onto the left side and drop the elbows or walk those palms into the front and very gently opening up. I suggest you to use this part to very gently opening up the space of the hips and the groin. So when you come into this realization, you activate the parts of healing. So you're using the practice as a bridge between the conscious practice in the mind and the body to the unconscious space. So you're creating this link. And you're using this vehicle, the body, to carry a specific message concerning a need to heal from the conscious mind through the healing center directly into the body. And this wonderful array of healing mechanism that comes through energy and the light and the colors and the vibrations. Very gently take a deep breath in and palms onto the floor. Invite the palms back into the space of the state. And then right palm very gently moving onto the right side of the right foot and very gently coming into a plank. Now very gently coming into a strong position of the pelvic floor, spine, back of the head, dropping those elbows onto the floor and holding this plank and encouraging the space of this body. A deep sense of balance. A stable foundation comes from the elbow on the pelvic floor, within which to heal. Take another couple of more breaths if you can. If you want to drop, it's also fine. Now drop into the floor so that you're very gently coming into a gentle cobra and you're very gently pushing the back of the hips into the gravity. So it's almost like a treatment, providing that direct means to support the treatment with active creative power in the space of the realization to open those band of the hip, back of the hip. Now very gently, forehead, relax onto the floor. Now very gently keeping that exact right arm in that space of the floor, and very gently left arm reaching onto the left ankle. So right arm stays on the floor. Take a deep breath in, and you're very gently try to take a deep breath in, and you're trying to push that foot and the hand up to the ceiling. A slight lift if you can. Slight lift without tightening the back of the thigh. Now take a deep breath in, shoulder relax, relax, and very gently let go. Back to the space, back to the space, back to the ease, back to the breath. Very gently becoming more creative with your consciousness. Now take that deep breath in and keep that left arm exactly in its space, and right arm reaching into that ankle, and very gently a slight lift from the gravity, bringing that part into a complete feel-good space of opening. Breathe. You have that sense that as beginning to learn the body in such a way, learn the mind as a tool, and you're very gently finding the confidence where you are with it, against the background of knowing and unknowing. Relax to release. Forehead landing back on the hands. Now creating that space and the confidence to reach onto the both ankles, into the back, and very gently breathing into the space of imagination of a bow, Dhanurasana. Shoulders relaxed and chest open. Bring the heels closer to the buttocks or next to the hips, and use your thumb and give a very acute pressure into the sole of the feet so that it can send the signals into the brain, into the space of what organ that you're working is. Most of you are working on the liver. And very gently breathe out to release. And let go. Now let the head turn into a side and drop the back of the shoulder, the slouch, and open up that chest into the space of that you're working with. Now your head might turn onto the right, and then your head might turn into the left. So it's whatever you need to work on. You might have feeling that you have taxed the back a lot, but it's not. It's just your conditioning comes into that space of the story, the wound, overprotecting, not to heal it. So you're very gently, intuitively coming into this space, listening and tuning with your body, tuning, even listening to your breath. You know the breath brings you news. Your throat and the sound of the throat bring you news. Your posture brings your news. Not to get overwhelmed, but this is an excellent example for what we are working with. Now take that deep breath in, palms onto the chest level, breathing in into the up face. Opening up this time your up face. Very gently breathe out towards the down face. Now very gently walk those feet into the front, but allow the feet to be mat width apart. So you're going into the corners of the mat when you come into the front. Very gently you're holding onto the back of the ankles now. And bring your head below the knee level and move your head into the front and into the back. Address the spine, moving the head side to side, release further tension. Now very gently holding onto the opposite elbows. Now very gently arms stretching up onto the back of the shoulders. And very gently give a good massage and release that tension on the back of the shoulders. Now drop the arms. Shake, shake, shake. Now holding onto the back of the neck. Activate that energy, that representation in the back of the neck. And very gently give that spine some energy and a flow. Now very gently wake up the spine one vertebra at a time. Shoulders very gently roll back, opening up that chest. Now very gently stretch the neck to the right side. Breathing in back to the center. Onto the left side. Back to the center. Now shake the legs, shake the arms, and maybe jump up and down. Very gently releasing that static from the practice. Take that deep breath in, shoulders relax and chest open. Now very gently feet apart, bend the knees and sit deeper. Even if you have to use a block, very gently shoulders roll back and very gently regulate that digestion, the bowels, the elimination, developing that ease that whatever comes into the life that can be released without holding. A healthy habit that can release things. What is healthy is not storing. What is healthy is releasing. Shoulders roll back, opening up the space of the back and of the neck, back of the throat, front of the throat. So you're not slouching. Now very gently bum onto the floor. Now very gently give a good rotation to the legs. Now very gently bring the left knee onto the chest. Shoulders roll back so the spine is not slouching. Left foot onto the left side. Left foot onto the now right side, crossing over. Now take a deep breath in and bringing the right foot under the left buttock. So you may have to roll onto a side to bring that foot. Now settle the posture and get the buttocks back onto the floor. Now right arm reaching up to the ceiling and very gently bringing that right elbow past the left knee onto the left side. Now you can see that your upper back is slouching still. Now left arm roll back, left arm roll back, very gently taking a mudra on the right and very gently holding this posture for 6 deep cycles of breath. What we are holding is not just the posture, but this posture and the breath and creating that it moves into the affected areas and very gently clearing the damage out of it, clearing the damage out of the spine, out of the hip. Very gently, try not to shrivel into the posture, because something to generate, something to become open, you have to give its space. When you give space, things disappear. It doesn't appear. It's only appear when it's tightness, when it's shrinking into areas of tightness and fear, and you're feeding onto those areas. So at this very moment, you're giving that health, healing, the sound of the breath, which is much more settled than a panic, openness of the body, realization of the practice. Take a deep breath in now, shoulders relax, and come back into the front, holding onto the knee, shoulders roll back. Gently get that back of the head into the back a little bit, and keep that openness into the space of the contemplation, reflection today. Maybe deeply connecting into the spontaneous present moment, which is much more reliable. Spontaneous present moment that you come into that realization that you are not what you think. But the moment you start thinking, you are out from that grace of the present, that God, that nature. Now take a deep breath in, shoulders relax and just open. Stretch both legs into the front and refresh the posture. And let's do the other side. So you're working on the skeleton, the bones, you're working on the muscle, you're working on the nerves, you're working on the energy. You even can work on a level of the fluids on the bone, that marrow, washing out and rinsing out and flushing out. Now take a deep breath in and twisting that spine with your own timing, but your posture is not controlled. Your posture is you're trailing things downstream and releasing things from your feet. And you're bringing that sparkle of realization into the practice from the head to the toe. The equilibrium. Sparkle of life that is realized in a moment is so sparkle than anything in this space of the planet. Shoulders relax, just open. See where you're losing, whether you're losing on the breath, you're losing into a thought. You just apply a light touch and come back into that space and relax more directly into that space that you're working with. Take that deep breath in and very gently coming back in, shoulders relax, and hold that alignment of openness, because you have to open, you have to create doorways. You have to initially feel that, whether it's in the hands, whether it's in the feet, what you're releasing. Now take that deep breath in, both feet stretch into the front. Check that legs. Now, this posture is not going to be taxing, but feet apart, bending your knees, and very gently rolling forward, rolling forward. Now, the idea is every time you're slouching the spine, you're rolling the shoulders back. Take that deep breath in and deeply try to move from the energy of the posture. This is where healing is start beginning. Try to work from the heat of the posture. Try to work on the energy of the posture. So if you're working on the liver, then bring that heat and energy to that liver and start relaxing and smiling into that space. So if you're working with the heart, it's the same space, but allowing that understanding and realization of what your imagination, whether it's a Christ, whether it's a Buddha, whether it's a light, whether it's a heat, whether it's an energy. Because even you think a thought, it has an energy. So experience that transformation of your attitude also changing. Instead of learning things in a mechanical way, we are not against your learning, but use that learning as an energy, that transformation for you to see something spiritually bit more than a manual, bit more than a specialist. So bring that attention into that area that you're working, or whether you are learning how to embrace that space or learning how to touch that space. Now very gently take that deep breath in, slowly coming back, roll the shoulders back and palms onto the floor into the back. Now stretch the feet into the front, feet together, toes pointing into the front. This might be harder. Take a deep breath in and allow those hips to elevate. I'm just elevating this posture to getting rid of certain things. So that bringing that and touching that area with a little bit of flotation to create a little bit of flotation. Breathe out very gently. Drop back the buttocks onto the floor. And very gently bringing that knees to the chest. Breathing in, arms raised onto the crown. Breathe out, knees to the chest. Breathing in, breathe out. Breathing in, breathe out. Breathing in, breathe out, knees to the chest. Very gently sitting, gently paying your attention. Very gently taking that deep breath. Now, instead of forcing the breath to go to a part, feel the part of your body superimposed to this breath. Where do you feel? How do you feel living in this body? How do you feel to touch the part with your consciousness into that affected areas of the body? Imagine if you're working with a tight tip, that you're able, your consciousness, to basically touch that space, to heal that space. So aim your practice and consciousness. If you're working in the space of the heart, if you're working with the space of illness, if you're working in the space of the immune system, that you're able to touch and remove that space of no longer have any serve, and allowing that healthy tissue to regenerate, that healthy tissues are regenerating into that space, completing the healing. Maybe some of you, it might be completed. So you're drawing this energy from a field of your consciousness, field of your consciousness. You might have a symbol for that realization. Your body defenses and healing capacities are both, can be imagined and interact. So if there is an imagination that represents your total good health, what would it be? And very gently start drawing it and its clarity. And you're the therapist who is experienced in this field. So if you have a problem in the emotion, what would, in a graphic imagination, not having that problem, and start inviting it? Because you invited in a thought of a fear before. So now you can invite in a very much a different completeness. Now when you realize that space, very gently take that deep breath in and allow those arms to raise back into the crown. Palms onto the Namaskar position. To vibrate is the sound of the vibration and sound of the completeness of the healing and the practice. If it had a sound, what would that sound be? Without any information, just feel the sounds of healing into the space of your body, into the space of your mind, into the space of your spirit. All family, a celebration in gratitude. Taking a deep breath in and stretch those palms back into the space of the side and just have an energy feel. So bring your intention into your home, into your state, into your practice, into your business, wherever you're serving the purpose of your life. And let those arms spread through that, raising back into the vibration of the cosmic energy. Gently touching the earth in the support of harmony of the heat, earth particles, air particles, water particles. We have gratitude because these are in harmony is healing. These are in disharmony is opposite to healing.